Good morning. Welcome to Let's Talk Stupid. I'm Compound.
And I'm Proud, and today it's just the two of us. And today's topic is.
The weather.
Yay.
Yeah, we're talking about the weather, you guys. Imagine what that might be.
I don't know as well, to be honest. We just completely ran out of idea, but I think this topic might be interesting in some ways.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, so we're going to play a little game, but I don't think it's like a game, but tell me your favorite season.
Yeah, it's just a question. So, who should go first?
Well, it can be me because normally you go first.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
Okay, so a little note here in Thailand or any tropical country that lives near
The equator.
the equator, we have like different seasons from those who live down or upwards to us. So yeah, basically it. So we only have rainy seasons and summer and like a teeny tiny bit of winter, which doesn't have snows anyway whatsoever. It's just a little bit colder. So we're going to tell you our favorite season as in in our country, and also our favorite season in international season.
Exactly.
Okay, so my favorite season in Thailand is going to be winter because I think it's everybody's favorite season because it doesn't rain, the sun doesn't shine too bright. Also, yeah, that's basically it. I also love Christmas, and that is the reason why I also love winter in international season, because I've never been through any difficulties because of snow, because I've never lived there. But I always enjoy Christmas movies and always enjoy the idea of fat Santa guy giving you
Santa
cookies.
guys.
Oh no, we give them cookies, but giving me presents and stuff.
That's cute. So,
Okay.
for my turn, for Thailand, I definitely enjoy winter as well because obviously the temperature is cooler. It's not raining. I hate rainy season because obviously it rains, and also you got floods. And when I was younger, even though it's Bangkok, we still get floods. The capital city of Thailand still have floods. What? How does that work? Okay, so when I was younger, I used to enjoy the floods because it's like I'm in the sea or something. And the car get passed through and I'll be excited. But when I saw the people on the streets, they were disgusted and I was wondering why. And then I realized when I grew up older that those water were just disgusting or something like that.
Exactly, and the engine of your car can stop working
Oh,
anytime, and
yeah.
it's a disaster.
Exactly.
I always hate rainy seasons as well, and I don't get it why people like it. I like light rains. Everybody like light rains because it's cool, but normally it doesn't rain lightly in Thailand, right?
Yeah, true. And also the electricity usually runs out or something during the rainy season, even though it's the capital city of Thailand. I don't understand.
There's a reason why it always flood in Thailand, because normally this is the place we choose because we think that it will be good for our crops. We'll have enough water for irrigation or whatsoever. Back in 200 years ago. But right now we don't do that anymore, so it just backfire.
Sure. Uh-huh. Oh, and for the international season, I actually prefer spring because for other countries, I love seeing all the flowers blooming, all the trees and everything. I think it's cute. And I think winter for some countries might be too cold, so definitely spring for me.
Oh, I see. Well, I've never seen any clear representation of spring in any film, or I never watched enough media to understand the idea of spring. But when you talk of spring, you think of Easter and you think of pollen, and I don't know if I'm allergic to pollen, but I always hate it.
Uh-huh. It could be irritating sometimes, I guess.
Okay, but it smells nice, right? And it looks like Disney Princess World, or you like go out and sings with the birds.
Okay.
All right. Oh, well, let's talk about this. What do you think? I think the one thing that we can mutually agree is that rain is like a big problem for us people in like tropical country, especially in capital city, right? So do you think there will be any measure taken in the future to like, make rain lighter? Because to make rain go away, I think that will make a lot of people angry.
I don't think it will be like attacking the cloud to make the rain lighter. I think what you should actually do is like improve the sewage system, and that will fix the problem. I've heard that
Exactly.
I've heard that many like sewage way in Thailand were blocked for some reason with trash, I suppose. So to fix it indirectly, you might need to educate people to properly dispose of things.
Well, but I imagine the sewage system of Thailand to be like nightmarish. You might find some like huge a crocodile down there, or you might have to do like Resident Evil style running away from like large fish.
I'm not sure if it's like a huge tunnel way. I'm not an expert in this area, but I've heard that they use prisoners to clean up the blockage in the sewage. Like in front of my house, there was one time that there was a person to like clean the way, but I'm not sure where he came from. But it's like a service that the government should provide or something.
True, and we're not going to talk about why it's still blocked today because obviously the money went somewhere, but but I personally don't think that if all the floods are gone, would you still prefer rain anyway?
I don't think I'll prefer rain because, well, sometimes it's get too humid and it's suffocating, and also you get wet. That's why I hate rain.
Yeah, and also all the bugs and all those like frogs
Oh, yeah.
and lizards come out. I really hate that. I'm not like a nature lover who like, oh, cute frogs, cute cockroach. No. And it's really disturbing because even if there's like no flood, but there's still a lot of areas that are extremely dirty when dried, and when it rains, it got a lot worse. And you just stomp over a cockroach, you return home wet, you don't know if you're infected with anything or not. It's just downright terrible for me.
Oh, and when you're walking on a sidewalk and then a car passed by, you're like, I used to be very, very frightened because like there will usually be some small ponds and you can get splashed by that.
Eek.
But this situation aggravated when it comes to like flood because you got a large amount of water
Yeah.
and everything. And also when it floods, our school floods a lot whenever it rains. And well, it's exciting because both teachers and students were scared whether we can like get out of school or not, and
Yeah. That's like a huge problem for a lot of students. If the car engine stops during their way to home, it will be very exciting.
that's true, and scary as well.
I think that in Bangkok there's obviously problems, and nevertheless there's like problems about diseases that comes with water. And even if the irrigation is better, then I think that it is very unavoidable that we will get diseases from water, from the sky, from the rain as well. It's not like directly from the rain, but when the rain falls to the ground and your skin touches like the water, even if a little, I mean, it's very dangerous. So, however, I think we need to fix this problems of like raining too much. Maybe we'll attack the clouds, or maybe we'll create like a transparent filter over Bangkok.
Oh, just Bangkok?
I think just Bangkok because I think that it's arguable that other country also needs like rain as well because there are still like we are still agricultural country, right?
Or maybe we can try to move the clouds to the position we want and just let it rain away.
Yeah, that could be the case. Well, if we grow up, then maybe you try to pitch that project to like the mayor, no, the president.
Oh, there's a technique called cloud seedlings, right? Like that is used. So, but I've heard that that technique is not used in America or something. It is banned because during the Vietnamese War, the U.S. used this to like put some poison or insecticide. I'm not sure, and like to spray it over the Vietnamese army, and that made people like mutated. Some grows like extra limbs or things like that, and so that's why they're banned.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Yeah. Just some history because I was curious whether it's actually a good method. Because if it's that good, why aren't other countries using it? I've heard that there are limitations to like how you can feed the cloud. Sort of, you just have to have the right amount of cloud in order to do so, or something. So it's not very popular.
Yeah, true. As a kid, I always was educated that can I speak about this? That it was the invention of, or it was one of the projects of our previous king. And I always wondering as well, like if it's good, then why don't people do it? The reason behind it being so expensive and it doesn't suffice. I mean, the rain doesn't suffice the need anyway, so people don't do it as well.
That's an interesting aspect. And I also thought, like, wow, he came up with this. Oh no, cut that part out.
Yeah, cut that part out.
มึงก็ตัดต่อนะมึงเกาออกนะ Let's move on.
Okay. It was one of his projects, I said. Well, apart from clouds, I also think that Thailand has problems with like heat, right? But do you think it is that urgent to fix like the heat wave, the solar power of Thailand? Or is it that hot, to put it simply?
I don't think it's that hot. I've heard that there are countries that have like internal heat or earth heat. I don't know the specific vocabulary for it, but they use like the heat from hot spring to power electricity or something like that. But I don't think that level of heat is in Thailand. And also like the solar panel, we do have lots of cloud in certain parts, and other parts, well, I think there are lots of limitation to solar panels and solar powers in general because you just have to have the right amount, like right level of sunlight, and it has to be constant. So I've heard that it's not really a good option for Bangkok or Thailand because we don't have that constant sunlight.
We have clouds, we have sunlight. It's perfect for agriculture, but well, speaking in terms of like what to do with like technology, I think that we need to like go through some difficulties as well. But anyway, I agree with you. Thailand is not that hot, but I don't notice a statistic of like people who get heat stroke from the heat in Thailand each year. But from what I've seen throughout my life, I would say a lot of people do get heat stroke. So do you think that if there is a technology for like, opting the sunlight, would it be appropriate to be used in Thailand?
Oh dear, it's called an umbrella.
Oh yeah, sort of like that. But umbrella is with you for like a moment, but if
Maybe
you can adjust
a hat?
like the sun.
I'm just kidding. Compound is killing me.
Don't, a hat, you can't wear a hat when you're like paying respect to the national anthem
Really?
unless you're like Boy Scout or Girl Scout.
Really? I've never known that. But it's
Oh,
just
try to wear one.
but it's just a couple of minutes. So
Yeah, but people get heat stroke from that. You were at the same national anthem respects as I. So you see what happened, right? People get heat stroke.
or maybe it's called a fan and the government just have to place it everywhere and people will get better air ventilation.
It's funny because our primary school did exactly that. They have like fan with like vapor coming out and it's super cool.
Yeah, that's true.
But when they installed it, we left.
We saw some of it and then we left.
Yeah. And they also have like this green sheet covering the whole area.
Oh,
which is like,
yeah. Which is cute. Uh-huh.
it turns schools into like a green world, which is funny because we always thought like, oh, we're gonna see the blue sky, but now the sky is green.
And I've heard that like many people propose the school president to install like a real roof, but I guess that is too expensive. That's why they chose like a cheaper option, which still works, but when it rains, like because it's like a cloth, but a very thin cloth, it still retains some water. And then when we were like standing in our lines, occasionally there will be some water sprinkling onto us.
Some extra rain.
Extra rain.
And maybe the rain carries some soils, and like 5 years from now, some plants will grow there. I'm certain.
It should change it at some point, I suppose.
Because that sheet is so the cost of sheets and the cost of roofs are so different.
True.
And anyway, I think building a roof wouldn't be a good idea because imagine having like a roof, you can't see the blue sky anymore. Then like it totally changed how you pay respect to the national anthem. It turns into this boring gym activity, right? It will turn like a normal area into like a gym-like area.
True. And you have like a problem with ventilation as well because like it blocks everything. But for this sheet, it's rather like almost translucent. I don't know what word it is, but it's pretty loose.
Yeah, you can breathe air, and it's also like the soccer field as well, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we don't need to adjust any more of sunlight. That will cause too much damage for like other people in the world. Just sheets, hats, umbrella. I think that suffice.
Or buildings. Just walk into a building and you'll be fine.
But like you build buildings and you need to cut like trees or destroy nature. So that's
Existing buildings work just fine though. Or
yeah, true. Well, but there has been a lot of attempt to like try to make weather better in some like areas such as university. They try to plant some more stuff, create like a green town, electricity, those sort of stuff. So you and me, we live in like a campus area, right? Mostly
sort of.
Like, for now, no, but like in the past few years. What do you think about that? Is it really better?
The scenery is definitely better. I enjoyed it. I think it's beautiful, but I'm sort of I think it will be a hard job for like the gardeners to take care of all of those plants, and it would definitely cost a lot for the university to just take care of those plants, but I think it's worth it. But it's just like a very small part of Bangkok that is covered in green. Other parts are still like buildings, so I don't think it will make that huge of a difference.
True. Yeah, I can confirm you that, every time they will try to like, sprinkles water into the plants, they have this like huge A truck
Oh.
And the truck just they just drive around the campus and like pour tremendous amounts of water, obnoxiously tremendous amount of water, and it's like you can't walk past this. If you see the bus, then you better run or else you get wet. They don't care if there's people there, and also I think the weather is generally better because you obviously have a lot of shades to hide from the sun. But one thing that really bothered me is that it really is humid there, and a lot of animals live there. Like when I say a lot, it's a lot.
Yeah, biodiversity, you know.
Yeah, and this one time I saw like, I don't know what it's called, but it's like an alligator.
A lizard.
Comes out of the sewer.
Lizard, right?
A huge lizard. A huge water monitor. I don't know if that's the right name for it. Like, I don't know how Thai alligator. I actually don't know.
A monitor.
What is it?
I think it's water monitor.
It comes out of the sewer and it looks at me, stared me in the eye, give me like a dead look, and it returns.
It returns. Oh, I think it's quite funny that like many parks in Thailand do have those alligators, monitors, I don't know, and they're like native there. And one time I was cycling in like a certain park, and then one monitor was like crossing the path, and I had to stop my bicycle and let it cross, and I was like so scared because it was gigantic, and like people were like staring at it and waiting for it to like cross over.
Go away.
And I was afraid because I've heard that like, well, they aren't usually aggressive to us. They usually like ran away, but I've heard that their saliva is poisonous. But I have never heard of like any people got bitten by them. I'm not sure why.
I don't know. I've heard as well their saliva is poisonous because it contains a lot of disease. Like, a lot of disease. It's very dirty. It eats trash. Definitely.
I suppose. I don't think anyone would give them food.
I've heard that they eat chickens and they like stole chickens from like the locals or stole pigs from the locals. But I've never had that close up experience with it. But we just locked eyes across the room, across the road. It's just that, nothing much. But
I wonder there aren't any people farming or raising chickens in Bangkok, but what is their source of food then? Trash?
I think that there is. Oh, in Bangkok, right?
In Bangkok.
I think it's trash and also snakes.
Snakes?
Yeah, I've seen them eat snakes in front of me before. They were like holding snakes in their mouth, and my father was driving, and then all the cars need to stop. Same old stories. Snakes and also trash. They are very, very, but their skins are very expensive. So if you're interested,
maybe. Oh, I've heard that. I don't know how did we get here, but just let's continue down this hole. So I've heard that like not recently, it's been quite a while now that many people raise like gecko. What is its name? Yeah, gecko. As a pet, and they are very, very expensive. Like, very expensive.
You're free to have mine. You can have my gecko.
Yeah, you should capture it and just sell it, because it's very expensive. And I've also heard that many people eat gecko.
Eating is not new. Have you been down to Chinatown? See a lot of weird stuff there. And also I've seen gecko as well, so it's very disgusting.
People are weird.
Well, I mean, I'd rather have live geckos than dead geckos in my house. Like, have you seen a dead gecko? It's disgusting. And I've had a gecko as well, even if this is a condominium. I've lived in a condominium, so I always wonder, like, where do you come from? This is like the 19th floor. And one day when I was out at the terrace of my house, I got the answers. They literally climbed. Like, it climbed up and down into like separate floors.
Oh.
I suppose like one floor a day keeps the doctor away. So the gecko finally reached like, the 19th floor. And sometimes I encounter it in my kitchen.
In your kitchen? Inside your
Exactly.
room?
Yeah, exactly. It was not on the floor, because on the floor I wouldn't be afraid at all. I can just stomp it.
Oh,
No, just joking. I
that's-
won't have the courage of doing that.
That's so scary.
I can just, stomp the floor and then it will run away. But it was at the sink and it was staring at me, locked eye across the room.
Again.
Yes, and I was like, oh, deja vu. But it doesn't move, because it's weird, because normally geckos are afraid of people, right? But they're just,
This
what are you doing, homeboy?
this one is a pro.
Yeah, and I suddenly grabbed like a spray, like anti-gecko spray, but it doesn't move anyway. It was like, interesting.
This is my home now.
Yeah, so I returned into my bedroom and I freaked out.
Wow, that's so scary.
You live in a house. Do you have many geckos in your house?
Well, I used to have some, but I'm not sure where they all went. I guess because like near my house there is like a camping site for what do you call them? The workers, like for the building workers and things like that, and people like that. So I suppose they moved to that place because like my house used to have like 3 geckos or so, like a family of geckos, but they're not that burdensome. They'll just like up air, and then they'll go or something like that. But my house has a problem with like the small lizard, the jingzhou. Like we have lots of
I
them,
see.
but like usually like we have like a huge dining table, and during the day many small lizards will live under the table, but when it's dark they'll come up to find some leftovers. And yesterday I went downstairs and I turned on the lights and I just like walking past a kitchen island in my house, and there were like plastic bags on top of that, and when I walked past it, the plastic bag moved. So if it's like in a scary movie, I'd be totally scared and scream, but because I know it's my house, I know it's definitely from that lizard, so it wasn't that scary at the time, but still pretty
So
creepy.
you like grab that plastic bag and squeeze it?
No, because I know it was huge, because one time I turned on the light and it was like almost the size of my hand, and I was like, are you sure you're not gecko?
Wow, yeah. That's terrifying. But I think that it's normal for like I think we're lucky that we don't have like snakes in our house.
Oh,
Snakes in my house would be.
I do have, because the camping site right next to my house used to be like a forest, and because I'm not sure why, but snake loves heat, and we have the air conditioner compressor outside of our house, and we also have like, what do you call rebiang? What is it?
Terrace.
The terrace, exactly.
Balcony.
The balcony. Whatever. And we place it there, and sometimes we could see the snake skin there. And one time I used to do the laundry and I have to like dry them. I would dry them in that balcony, and I was walking out and then I turned left, and I saw the air compressor, and next to it was a snake. So I stopped everything and ran back into the house and shut the door immediately. I was so scared. But it's just a small snake though. It's like the green tiny snake. But it's terrifying still.
Doesn't make it any better.
Yeah.
It doesn't depend on the size. It fits you end game.
Well, some are not poisonous, so Yeah, but I've never heard of them for a while now. Maybe again because of those workers. Hmm.
Maybe they like cooklet. I don't know.
Let's leave it to interpretation.
To our imagination.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think it's normal for like tropical countries to have those kind of stuff. At least you don't have any chickens in your house, and at least it wasn't stolen by any alligators.
Mm-hmm.
So good luck. You only have dogs. Does it help in like prevent just fend off the snakes?
My family used to have like a Jack Russell Terrier, which is a medium to large dog, and that one helped a lot. But for our Chihuahua, she's just lying there, being pet and being cute. I have never seen her chase any cockroaches, gecko whatsoever. She's just there. She's just there. And one time, because she is a Chihuahua, she's very small, right? One time there were cats trespassing because the Jack Terrier one passed away like a couple of years now. I think 5 maybe. And so the cat was actually bigger than our Chihuahua, and she is inside the house, but the cat is outside. And because my house has like a glass door, they were just like having a staring competition. And once in a while, she would bark, and then the cat would stare at her, and she'll stop. And yeah, that's basically it. So that's why like the front of my house was a cat playground for a while because she didn't do her job. But for the Jack Russell Terrier, he's pretty aggressive. One time he bit the postman, but like tear his pants down. So we have to we have to compensate for his pants and everything. And also that our dog like once killed a pigeon in front of our house, and that's terrifying.
Yeah, agreed. Oh, that's really terrifying. Oh, you like bit the postman.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Definitely interesting.
Okay, so like back to the weather. So I think that we can't avoid this topic, even though it has been spoken so many times. What do you think about climate change?
Oh, it's a huge problem. Don't say that climate change doesn't exist. It exists, people. And it definitely affects lots of people's lives, and it definitely destroyed biodiversity. I've heard that like many species extinct because of that, because they couldn't adapt to the abrupt change in the condition and everything. So it is heartbreaking to know that. I've heard like it's a large number, but I couldn't remember, but that many lives got extinct because human. But I've heard that it's also a natural process as well, that it's just that human accelerate the process like a lot faster.
I think I do actually agree with you that it's a natural process because like there were ice age, but now you don't see ice in Thailand, right? But the point is, if it's a natural process, like okay, we accelerates it, a lot of life has to die, but the question is whether it is really something that we can't fix. Like to talk about fix, you need to understand that I don't mean fix as in like make the world a better place by everybody reduce plastic, but like fix by using technology from like Elon Musk or anybody.
They're
like
trying, right? Like I think climate change is not just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 problem. It's multiple problems intertwined with one another, but all of them has the same factor, which is human. We destroy everything in our way, basically.
So you think humans should be terminated?
No, definitely not. We just have to fix a problem before we got exterminated.
True. well, I think as well that climate change can be fixed when everybody join hands, but not by like a large figures or like a powerful figures in like technology industry, that but take action and then everything all gone sap all good. I think we need to join hands and take actions together. But that is the hardest part, because humans is not best known for like our cooperation.
That's
right?
true.
And like it's a problem that it's a tragedy of the common. Like exactly, it's the very definition of tragedy of the common, when other people, when you have to sacrifice, when everybody is trying to sacrifice as less as they can, and then at the end it all turns out like this bad, because you can't see that if you do good for the earth, the result is not going to show up in the next day or like at the instant moment. So it's very hard to know whether this is like a real help or not. And other problems is that you don't know whether what you're doing is right or not. For example, you buy a tomato from like a supermarket, you don't know that how much this produced tomato did to the world. Like you don't know if it used a lot of insecticides, it used a lot of engines, machines, transfer costs, as in carbon footprints. You don't know what the damage it has done to the world. And would it be better if you buy a tomato from other supermarket? You don't know that too. And in this way, the lack of information that you can't avoid is also another factor.
That's true, but I think it will be hard for people to like solely buy things based on their carbon footprint. I think the measure they should take should be something like recycling, reusing things, stop using one-time plastic, because ironically, plastic was meant to be reused. It was not meant to be thrown away. It was meant to be replaced the paper bag, because at the time they cut down too many trees. But at the present, you should use paper bags instead of plastic. And I think it's ironic and hilarious in some sense, because initially we said that the paper bag was damaging. It has done lots of damage to the environment. But for now, we say that, paper bags are great.
Yeah, also we use paper straw, which is ridiculous. It is not efficient and not eco-friendly.
Really? I'm not sure. But
I don't think it's eco-friendly. It cuts down trees. And like, I don't think that plastic straw is good. Paper straw is a little bit better, but it's still not eco-friendly.
Just don't use...
Eco-friendly would be...
Just don't use any straw.
Yeah,
if possible. If possible, though. There's also like metal straw as well, but it's questionable whether it's hygienic or not, because how can you reach the inside of that straw? I'm sure there are some cleaning tools, but still.
Straw cleaner.
I'm sure it exists though.
Alright. Well, do we want to leave any notes to like, our listeners today? Because like, we turned to an unexpectedly serious end.
Questionable. We got a little bit distracted. Well, I also have some funny thoughts, I suppose. I've thought about this for a long time. I think like the environment, the seasons, the weather largely affects the people in that area. For us, for Thailand, in the ancient times, we are usually like, our kingdom usually prosper because of that condition, because of that time, that era. So that's why we didn't struggle as much. But from my observation, I think that at the beginning, when the weather and condition where you live is not as fertile as other places, that's why you struggle more and you want to invent something more. That's why country like Japan, where they have like all sorts of disaster, prosper today, because they had to struggle in the past. And the reason why, for example, the reason why technologies in Thailand are not as abundant as other places, from my observation though, it's just a funny thought, is because like we didn't have to struggle because the condition is already great in our country. But for other country like Japan, they had to design the building to live quote unquote normal like us, where the conditions are all great. So the technology advances, or the source of electricity, for example, the country where there aren't anything else but wind, they have to create a wind turbine. But for Thailand, where every condition is sort of like moderate, we couldn't use anything, and we don't want to struggle to build anything. That's why the technology is not appropriate for Thailand, and that's why for now we are sort of a developing country.
I think that, yeah, you're totally right, and we're so focused on like building the so-called technology, like sending people to space, when what we should be caring is more like botany, or how we can make our products even better. But now our rises and what we can cultivate from our resources are deteriorating, because resources are limited, right? And also that other countries also have technologies that could improve their products, and the quantity of their products also increases. It results in Thailand losing profits a lot.
That's true.
I think it mainly because we don't think that we should realize our potential. We don't need to.
Yeah.
We already have it.
Thai people lacks confidence in the country itself, in the people itself. We don't believe in one another, that we have enough potential, and we rely too much on other countries. We believe too much in other countries' technology, while we should actually invent our own technology that suits our environment. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. That's so true. When I see a lot of innovation in Thailand, like what I really think that we should focus more on is more like irrigation systems in like agricultural world. But most people that have the power to invent this, have like the intellectual power to invent this, they are the people that live in the capital and never really understand any problems of agricultural world. And that's maybe the problem. That's maybe
That
the
could be.
causes of why we can't invent anything great.
and all those so-called smart people just stays in the capital.
Move into
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the other parts are just left out.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, enough about all the seriousness. So, I think that's the end notes for us. Do you have any question for our listeners?
Oh, I actually thought of like, if you were able to control the weather, would you do so, and how would you monitor it? Like the geostorm
Oh.
sort of way that people try to control the weather. Is it ethical?
How it turns out.
Yeah. Is it ethical to do so? Do you want to turn the desert into like an oasis and a forest? Is it ethical? Should you do so? Or something like that? So you can. Do you want to answer that for our listeners?
Well, I want to tell our listeners that if you want to try the world where you can control the weather, you should try Minecraft.
Oh, true. Okay. So,
You can experiment with that and tell us.
sure. And so you can send us your answers to let's talk stupid